G'day YouTube, we're here on episode 4 of the Husky 401 project build. We're getting to the real pointy end of this project now. We're starting to style it out. Most of the fabrication and everything like that's finished, so the bike's really starting to take shape. Today we've got Josh from Ride Design Co coming in with a custom graphics kit that he's made. He's going to lay that out. So I've got to get busy and take all these parts off so he can have a free run at it. Once he's sorted out with that, I'm going to take a few select bits off to paint that we couldn't get graphics kits for. And by the end of this episode, we're going to be pretty much ready to take this thing for a test ride.
Josh here from Ride Design again. We're back down at purpose-built Moto with the finished product. So essentially what we've got now today is the kit printed. So this has gone through the process of printing our design onto a plain white vinyl, and then we've gone ahead and put a gloss laminate over top and cut it out on the product, and now we're ready to stick it on the bike. Before we go ahead and start the install on the bike, we've gone ahead and laid out the kit in each section as it would go on the bike. So we've got the main shroud area as well as the tank sticker, where we're going to go ahead and take Husky blue and introduce it into the bike to get rid of the black and the white, and also grey to get rid of the fluoro yellow. So originally we had a blue section for the top of the tank on the bike, but after fitting up the rest of the kit, we actually like how much white space is left around the rest of it. So we're going to go ahead and cut a thin strip out of the top of this piece here, just so it gives it a little bit more of a cleaner line up the top.
So there's a few bits and pieces on the bike that we couldn't get the graphics kit to go over. Things like the front fender and the radiator shrouds I'm still going to have to get painted, but we've got a little colour swatch that we can match it with. I was going to leave this till a bit later until Josh was done, but the boys from United Tools and Makita dropped in, so I thought I'd better get to work. So one of our final pieces of styling on this bike is going to be a few bits and pieces to paint. Josh has absolutely nailed the sticker kit. I'm super stoked we got Ride Design Co on to do that. I think it really helps tie in the Supermoto feel that we're going for with the project. So these are going to go out to get matched in with a Husky blue, and then the radiator shrouds, we're going to do the same and remove that fluoro yellow strip and make it match in with a nice grey. I'm still waiting on our acrylic lens for the headlight, for the tail light. So that's going to be our final job, and we'll also build in Jamason getting the seat done as well. We're waiting on a bit of gripper material for that. This project has taken shape pretty quickly, and me and the guys have decided that we are going to give you the chance to actually own this bike. So jump onto the Purpose Built Moto website. We'll explain it a bit better on the blogs, but this bike is going to be given away at the end of the project. So if you've loved the build, make sure you jump on there and get in the chance to actually ride this thing. Further preparation to get this thing ready for the road is seat and then the tail light as well. So this thing's about to go over to Jamo, Timeless Auto Trim, to stitch up. We're going to use like a gripper style seat material with the working in blues and greys like we've done with the sticker kit. And then I'm going to get Dylan to finish off the brake light. We got the Perspex back that you saw me design in an earlier app. So we're going to do the cutout for that so all of our parts can go for paint.
So while Tom's just sketching out a design on the seat there, I'm just gonna go ahead and slowly measure up and get this Perspex light on the retail light we're gonna fit up. Here's the little bit that Tom fabricated probably in the first or second episode. But obviously that goes in there, like so. I can get it in there.
Oh, you gotta take that seat
But
off.
yeah. That's going to fit in there. We're going to snug that in. We're going to cut it real snug to the outside of this Perspex. And then eventually we're going to cut the centre out of that and then sneak it in the middle here.
That is sex. Fuck, that's gonna look so good. Hell fucking yeah. Dude.
G'day, Jamason from Timeless Auto Trim. Back on the Husky build today. Finally, it's my turn to rip in. Tom's laid down a nice design for us to work off and modified that foam, so I'll run you through the process of what we sort of do to get it to the final product. So now, as you can see, Tom's given us the bare bones of his design. It's only really a rough sketch, so what I'm going to do through first of all is just tidying up the lines, make sure it's all symmetrical, because the lines I draw on this next will be the ones I pattern off and ultimately become the stitch lines and the flowing design. So you can sort of see I've darkened those lines. That design's a lot more prominent now. You can sort of see the end picture. What happens next is actually patterning it out. Because it's all from scratch, I actually need to lay down some vinyl or just some clear plastic to actually get my patterns to actually sew together. So you can see on here I've got line art marks. So this will help actually when I get under the machine, all these puzzle pieces will fit together nicely. Well, they should do if I pattern it correctly. And it'll sew together, all meeting up perfectly, and by the time I come to fit it, it will all just peel over and fit exactly how I want it to. So I'm going to go ahead and start patterning this out, and you can sort of watch the process of that unfold. my pattern's all laid out there. All the line marks for a flat, even surface, it's quite an easy one, you know. When I sort of start to drift into a bit more curve and shape and rounding out, you can sort of notice that pattern isn't actually straight anymore. So what that'll do is actually pull out the excess from the seam and leave a nice flat surface for us when it tensions out. So the reason we use, say, just some cheapy vinyl for this is when I pin it in place or glue it in place, I can just jam holes in, I can glue it, I can do whatever I want to this, cut it up, perform it in any way, and I'm not ruining our final, whether it's leather, vinyl, Alcantara, whatever you're using. We're not actually destroying any of the expensive stuff, we're just using, you know, crap templating stuff. So now that's all ready to go and I've got all my templates and, you know, my reverse for the other side, I'll go ahead and start using it on the actual grip of vinyl that we've got for the rest of the seat now. Righto, so now you can see that it's all patterned out and taking a lot of shape. So as you can see there, for something that's quite flat with just a few panels on it, there's actually a lot of shape in the seams themselves to pull out just all the little bits of ugly that will no doubt arise along the way. So now from here, usually I'll foam it, but for a cover like this, we've already got plenty on the actual seat itself. I'll just go ahead and sew it up. It'll actually help it tension and stretch over and give you a bit more grip under all that tension on the seat itself. So I'll take this out of the machine and get cracking. So what I'm just doing here, usually we have a pretty good idea on design, colours and whatnot, but when it comes to the stitching and how we'll sort of do it, I sort of just do that on the fly. Like I'll have a few ideas and what colours will go where and double stitch here and whatnot, but sometimes it helps just to lay out what you've got so far and just keep winging it, I guess. It always helps put it on the bike. Looking pretty sick so far. Sweet. Now, anyone who's done the motorbike seats themselves, which this is trying to replicate, knows it's all about tension. So you can see all my marks here and all my angles I'll need to pull out, but it's all about pulling that in the right direction. So I'll go around, grab my staple gun here and go through, staple it off and cool. So I've only just started going front to back and maybe a little bit side to side here, but I've already noticed my my seams here already off axis a little bit. This is even a tip for even if you're doing your Moto ones at home, or even just any cover that you can staple on yourself, just something off eBay, whatnot. Don't be afraid to do some staples here and there, just a few, just to pin it. If it needs adjustment, just pull them out, do it again. You know, it's part of the process. Like you don't want to get right to the end, you notice the whole thing's out by fucking 15 degrees and start all again, pull them out. You know. So don't be afraid to do it as you go. Check everything's square, even fit it to the bike once you get sort of 70% stapled down. Make sure you're still square with everything. Just keep going until you're done.
This gripper really makes a big difference.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
There she is, all tensioned out. As you can see, those wrinkles disappeared. So that patterning, as you can see, worked out really well. So same goes for your Moto seats that you just buy off the shelf and fit yourself. Usually it'll just be tension. If it's fitting like crap, you got wrinkles all through and you just can't get it out, just pull it more front to back. It'll float from there to the front, but as soon as you tension out here and wiggle it around, it'll come up and in. So there she is, all finished up for this Husky.
Alright, so we stretched this episode 4 out over a fair few work days. We had Josh come in, lay the graphics kit on, and Jamason's jumped in and finished our gripper seat idea off. It's turned out awesome. Crunch time for us now though, as we come into final assembly, getting the rear lights wired up, and basically just piecing this thing all together, checking over the whole project before we start it up and get out for a test ride later on.
I'm just working on putting the front fender together for the Vitpilen. Just putting all the screws in. We've actually got these colour matched, so it matched the decal on it, which come out really good. Because this is matte sort of finish, we've used this Moto matte finish cleaner. Smells unreal, cleans it up really good. So once I get it on there, you can have a look, it looks sick.
So in between the assembly, I've got to put together this brake light that we've fabricated up. So we've got the acrylic lens finish getting made. We've finished it with some really fine sandpaper. I was going to bead blast it, but I was a bit worried about it being a little too tough just on the plastic. So I've just gone and sort of hand sanded it to give it that opaque look, just so it's not clear. This little section in the center here is just to add a little bit of detail. So what you'll see from the back of the bike is just this acrylic section glowing red. When the bike's off, it'll just sort of look white with the lights off. I've fixed this little aluminium piece in here that we've had painted. I'm just sort of waiting for that glue to set in here while I've been waiting for this. The little LED light has been fixed in the back there, so that will clip onto the rear of the bike where the old brake light used to be. Sort of slimmed it all out and fits a little bit nicer too than the factory one. So our final step here will be to fix this part into the tail light, then fit it onto the bike, which is that's the only thing holding me up from finishing the wiring on this thing. So I'll get onto that while the glue's setting. We can move ahead with assembly, and then should be able to wire it up and give it a little test. So I won't bang on too much about wiring on this thing because our job's really simple here. It's just a matter of fitting up our new LED lighting into the factory system. As per usual, avoid unnecessary joins, use all the right materials, heat shrink, cable sleeving. I've got a bunch of details on a blog on the website called Motorcycle Wiring 101 if you want to sort of get into it a little bit more, or in our other build series as well from the Nemesis and the Harley. We sort of run through it in a lot more detail. But for now, I've just made the solder joints to run our wiring into the tail here, and we'll start connecting our lights. Alright, so I've just set this in place. I've pinned it in the back and taped the lens in, and then sealed it around and just have some like clear adhesive that we're using on the lens. One thing I was careful about was the placement of where my sort of like glue line was, because on a matte surface or an opaque surface, if you wet it, it'll sort of take it and make it look glossy again. It sort of takes away the opaqueness. So that's why that black piece in the middle helps to hide all of that. There is probably a lot of better ways to do this, and I'm sure the keyboard warriors will rip the shit out of me for this, but to avoid sort of, you know, a lot of heavy engineering and testing, remaking and testing again, this is sort of the easiest and quickest way to go about it. And I think the result is going to speak for itself. So I'm going to let this set, then we can pull the tape out, pull the stays out, and yeah, chuck it on the bike, and hopefully she'll be all good. Cherry on top of the Husky Vitpilen just got bolted on. The handmade brake light that we slaved over. I'm so stoked with how it come out. When you sort of going at bikes with not too many heavy mods. I think the little detail pieces like this really count, so I'm happy we put the time and effort into making something a little bit special for the Husky. That's it. The project is finished now, so we'll try not to show you absolutely everything in this one. Episode 5 will be the big reveal on the project, and we'll update you guys on the competition that will be running on it as well. Thanks for watching and sticking with us through the series. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. A few weeks from now, we'll be putting this thing out and the details for the comp will be with you. And then shortly after that, we'll be giving it away.